Needs no introduction. Good morning, Karl. I'm wondering if you have any idea about our new affiliate, KYLS News Talk 94.3 in Fredericktown, Missouri. Got any intel on Fredericktown, Missouri?
I sure do. Madison County, a good Republican county, and on the eastern edge of the lead belt of Missouri. My dad, who is a hard rock geologist, actually did some geological work in the area. In fact, ironically enough, the lead mines of that part of Missouri helped bring about his early and lucrative retirement.
You know, Rove, one day you or Barone is going to trip up when I throw something at you, and then I'm going to be surprised. But let's get to the map. You should talk the most on this. Let's start with the House. How do you feel about the Republican chances of getting the House? What do you think the margin will be when we shut it down on election night in November?
Well, look, I've long thought that not only are we going to take the House, but ironically enough, that it'd be sort of an average midterm election. If you look at it since World War II, the average, if you take out 2002, where the Republicans actually gained seats while holding the White House, the party out of power gains about 28 seats. And I thought it's going to be, sort of in that range, because in 2020, something weird happened. We lose the White House, but we pick up seats in the U.S. House. That's why we started this legislative session. 218 Democrats, 213 Republicans. So only five seats, actually 222 Democrats, 213 Republicans, only five down. A switch of five would have given us the majority. And so my point is that we started in a strong position. So if we gain 28 seats, which may be the upper range, that would put us at 241 seats, which is 10 seats more than Newt Gingrich had when he was sworn in as Speaker in January of 1995. So, I think it's going to be in that range. Maybe as time goes on, it's a little bit fewer. Could be a little bit more if conditions break our way, but I think it's going to be about in that range.
All right, let me play for you a familiar sound effect brought to my attention by Tom Tradup, who is Salem's go-to guru on talk radio. Can we play the Arby's bit?
Arby's, we have the meats.
So, Karl Rove, last week, Tom pointed out to me that the We Have the Meats ad, where 2 or 3 of their sandwiches went from $6 to $7. He calls it the Arby's Misery Index. What do you think? Is inflation still the leading indicator for this race?
Yeah, look. There are two different sets of issues. There are the issues that the ordinary American voter is feeling around at home, around their kitchen table. She's either going to the grocery store and finding it's a lot more expensive, or she's finding out that at work her paycheck is not keeping up with the rate of inflation. But that's one set of issues, and those set of issues are inflation and the economy and concerns about crime and concerns about the border. There's another set of issues, though, that are the sort of the media elite, and that is that is the right to privacy and the right to unlimited abortion and the right to the right to contraception. And all of a sudden, these issues are the issues that are being talked about by the media. But they're not, I think, the things that are going to determine the outcome of the election. The outcome of the election is going to be largely determined by the things that people are feeling around the kitchen table and at work.
So statewide elections will usually tease out the former over the latter. Let's run down the map, Karl Rove. There are 4 holds that the Republicans need: Wisconsin, North Carolina, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. What do you think of each of those?
Well, I'm feeling pretty good about Wisconsin. It's going to be a tough race right to the end because it's a battleground state that's settled by several tens of thousands of votes. I think Ron Johnson is running a good campaign, and his opponent, if he takes one step to the left, is going to fall off the edge of the earth, which is why Mandela Barnes is attempting to he won't say the word progressive, and he is running as fast and as furious away from his previous positions as he can get. But there's plenty of that, whether it's defunding the police or abolishing private health insurance. There are lots of crazy things that he has said over the years, and Johnson's going to have a wonderful opportunity to make use of those. I'm impressed with how Ted Budd is uniting the Republican Party in North Carolina. I think he's going to be all right. J.D. Vance has had a rocky start, but the state is red, and as long as lots of people are in there spending money, I'm involved in a group that's spending several tens of millions of dollars in American Crossroads Senate Leadership Fund, and I think at the end of the day he'll be all right. And then Pennsylvania, which control of the U.S. Senate could come down to who wins that race. If the Republicans hold Pennsylvania with Mehmet Oz, they stand a very good chance of taking the Senate.
Dr. Oz is getting better. He's been on this show once. He's coming back, and I was impressed. He was on with Brett Baer last night, and I was impressed. And John Fetterman is hurt, and I have sympathy for him and prayers for him, but I don't know if you can win incapacitated. Karl, does that happen?
Well, it occasionally happens, but you have to be enormously popular or politically very adroit. And he started out ahead, but I think people are looking at him and saying, "Is he up to the job? Is he up to the task?" But in a way, it's sort of like hiding another weakness, which is again much like Mandela Barnes. Here's a guy with extreme views. I mean, he literally said, referring to another state official, he said. This other state official opined that you could let a third of the people out of Pennsylvania state prisons without affecting public safety. And Fetterman said, I agree with that, and I think it's very profound. And I mean, once again, this guy is very, very much to the left of the Democratic Party in his state, and yet he won the nomination. And Dr. Oz has a great opportunity to draw some distinctions there.
Last time Ron Johnson was on, I said that I thought Fetterman was the most left-wing Senate candidate I've ever seen, and he argued with me that Mandela Barnes is actually to the left of Fetterman. I don't think we have to decide that so much as pointed out that it's a race to the left.
Exactly.
Let me go to the takeaways.
One other thing about Wisconsin. Quick thing about Wisconsin. I think Ron Johnson's having fun. If you look at the pictures this summer, he has been. Wisconsin. They have lots of local parades and festivals and. And there he was having a fun time out there campaigning, and that's what you need is a happy warrior, and he appears to be a very happy warrior this time.
He is. Let's go through the 5 takeaways. I'll do them alphabetically. If the Republicans win any of these, I think Mitch McConnell will be the leader again. Arizona, Colorado, Georgia, New Hampshire, Washington. Let's start with Arizona. Blake Masters against incumbent Mark Kelly.
Well, first, let's start with one you left out, Nevada.
Oh, you're right. My gosh, how can I forget Adam? Oh, that's a given.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's a given, but he's running a very good campaign, and he's a friend of mine, and as I suspect he's a friend of yours, I think he's a wonderful human being and a great life story and a wonderful state attorney general, and I think he's going to win, which is our best shot for a pickup.
That's why I forget it, because when you have to add something to your pickup list, that's good dag. You're right, Nevada, he is going to win. Now to Arizona.
Tough contest, got to unite the party. Took some very strong, hard views during the primary. It's a state with a lot of Republicans, but it's got a lot of independents, and this is going to be a tough race. And my hope is that Peter Thiel continues to support Blake Masters, his former chief of staff and close friend, because there's not enough money to go around for all these races.
The surprise of the cycle is in Colorado with Joe O'Dea, Karl Rove, and I can't have him on enough. I like him so much. He's such a normal guy.
Well, full disclosure, a week ago Monday, I did a fundraiser for him in Denver. Took time out of my family vacation to go join him. I was blown away. First of all, he and I share something in common. We're both adopted, and what a wonderful guy. I mean, there's so much authenticity, the directness. Here's a guy adopted by a Denver cop and a stay-at-home mom, gets into trouble when he's a teenager. His father says, okay, we're going to send you to the Catholic school, got a partial scholarship, and you're going to work Saturdays and Sundays to pay the rest of your tuition. The Monsignors turn his life around, graduates, goes to a carpenter's union apprenticeship program, becomes a union carpenter, works as a carpenter for 4 years, falls head over heels in love with an attractive Latina, follows her to Colorado State University. They work their way through school, get married, work their way through school. He graduates with a construction management degree from Colorado State. The two of them start a construction company, and it now is a large company that does most of the water projects in that part of the world. And he's a wonderful human being. And you look at him, you listen to him, you look him in the eye, and you just sense that this guy has enormous integrity, tells you what he thinks, humble. I was just completely blown away, and I think you're right. This is a very interesting contest. And the fact that the Democrats spent $10 million to try and defeat him in the Republican primary says that they know something about his ability to garner votes.
All right, Georgia and New Hampshire. We got about 2 minutes and 3 races. I'm very high on Herschel's improving ability to talk and talk to people, directly as one guy to one voter. What do you think about Herschel?
Yeah, look, he has an enormous strength, which is that there's an enormous reservoir of goodwill. And you're right,
Yes.
he's not been a political candidate. He's been a pro football player and a role model, somebody who's talked about the challenges that he faced in his own life and how he found the courage to ask for help. I think he's an inspiring figure, and you're right, he's getting better as a candidate. And his opponent is a left-winger. I mean, Raphael Warnock would be right at home representing the state of Massachusetts or, Vermont. I mean, it's like, he'd be a good California congressman from the Bay Area. I mean, so yeah, this is going to be a barn burner, very expensive, and going to go right down to the end. And fortunately, Herschel's on the ballot with Brian Kemp, who's going to, I think, help him by making it. There are not going to be a lot of people who vote for Brian Kemp and then vote for Raphael Warnock.
Now, I cover New Hampshire from the top out of Portland to Manchester and Keene in the south. Great affiliates all the way around. New Hampshire has to nominate Chuck Morris, and then he can win. I don't think anybody else can beat Maggie Hassan. I'm a realist. Do you agree with me, Karl Rove?
I totally agree with you. And please, would you start saying the name of the state correctly? New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
You got to add a little tone there. New Hampshire. Absolutely. Chuck Morris has been a great ally in passing Governor Chris Sununu's package. He's a good conservative with sensible views. He can beat Maggie Hassan, and you're right. He's the only one who can put it together in a general election. And again, the Democrats are spending. Chuck Schumer's trying to nominate a guy named Baldock by spending about $7 or $8 million here in the last 2 weeks of the campaign in this little state in the Northeast. So It's a sign of the desperation of the Democrats that they want to stop Chuck Morris.
Okay, last 30 seconds. Tiffany Smiley all the way across the country in Washington State.
Oh my! Please, thank God my wife is not in the room. We saw Tiffany Smiley speak, and my wife just was blown away with her life story, with her charisma, with her thoughtfulness. She's a terrific candidate in a tough state, as you know, but she is an unbelievable. It's funny. 2 of our best candidates are in 2 of the toughest states, Colorado and Washington State, but she's terrific.
Karl Rove, keep coming back. It's always good to check in with him. Follow him on Twitter. Watch him on Fox.